EPA meteorologist Bobby Martich here with your outlook for July 10th, 2024. We have a lot to get into in today's video. First and foremost, the Wednesday video forecast is proudly sponsored by Pure Sight and Sound Incorporated. Houston, we have a problem. With those chilling words, the most difficult rescue mission in history began. However, recently declassified documents revealed that there is more to the story. When an explosion on board occurred, the Apollo 13 spacecraft began pouring a stream of anomalous data that overwhelmed the video processors at Mission Control in Houston, and suddenly every screen went dark. The flight director, cool under pressure as always, reached to his right and pressed the speed dial button for Pure Sight and Sound. From his office in eastern Pennsylvania, Ed was able to troubleshoot the problem, and within minutes, the screens at Mission Control were back live, and 3 astronauts were successfully reunited with their families. If Pure Sight and Sound can save NASA, imagine what they can do to install a new or upgraded home theater for you. Call Ed at 570-992-2992. The phone number is above here in the video. Or you can visit them on the web at puresightandsound.com to schedule a visit to your home or your spacecraft. They are Pure Sight and Sound Incorporated, proud sponsors of the Wednesday video forecast. I alluded to a very busy day today, and for parts of the area that will be true. Other areas you're going to be like, what's the big deal today? And that's because we have the remnants of what was once Hurricane Beryl. It is now post-tropical, moving up to the north and east today, and we are going to have some severe weather involved with this because we have a very hot and soupy environment that we're dealing with today. As you see, above 90 to 95 degrees again today, and we also have very high humidity, just like yesterday. So with that in place, that sets the stage for a synoptic system to take over, and we have the opportunity for some severe weather today. They're initially here, they're looking at the early afternoon. There's going to be a low pressure here, which was once Beryl, and then a warm front associated with this. And I explained the difference between tropical and post-tropical yesterday, with the difference between a warm core system, which is a tropical system, and a cold core system, which is now transitioned to. When you have a warm core system, there's no fronts attached to it. There is in a cold core system, however, and we have this set up like this. There's a cold front sitting down here like this, warm front off to the north. That will be clearing very early this morning off to the north, so we will be in the warm sector in between. Areas closest to this area low pressure right here will have, and the warm front will have the opportunity for some severe weather, most notably in the form of tornadoes. So that is what we're dealing with today. Now, it is not going to be the entire area. I think the areas that are most prone to this, and I'll highlight that in this video, are going to be in our northwestern areas. As we get into the NAM high-res future simulated radar, I'm showing this off in the morning here to show you where the warm front activity is here across New York State. As I move this forward, we're going to have eventually a congealed line of storms, but this is a quasi-linear convective system moving through the region, a cold front. That's not a cold front in the traditional sense that it's going to be cold behind it, but it is technically a cold front. And along this line here, there's a lot of individual supercells that any one of these can produce a tornado as this moves off to the north and east in this direction. I think the most prone areas today are going to be in our northwest areas. I'm going to do the whole Sharpie trick here with this drawing here, and I'm going to show you exactly where I think the worst case scenarios areas are going to be, and that's going to be in these areas right in here. These areas right in there. That is going to be the highest risk areas for tornadoes today. Not just EF0, EF1, but something, it could be EF2 or greater in those particular regions. I would be shocked if the the Storm Prediction Center does not put at least an enhanced risk in at least parts of that region that I just circled. I think there's a very good chance of tornadoes in that region. It's an unusual setup where you have not only very high surface cape, which is your instability, but also a lot of vertical shear that is off the charts in some cases in those areas that I circled. Okay, now it doesn't mean that areas further south, I'm not going to get into that. Again, the best areas are right in here, kind of like right there, right? But it doesn't mean that on the outer periphery of this you can't get some tornadoes as well. And I think that's going to extend all the way down into here, something like that, where you would have tornado chances there, but not as great as the areas that is in the solid circle. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with today as this moves through. And the reason there's just those areas is because of one, it's closest to that area low pressure, and two, it's a timing issue. Look what the time is. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon when these storms are moving through. So by the time they move further eastward, they're going to run into. This is 9 o'clock. It's now getting to a time of the day where the instability is starting to lose a little bit. Now, it is very high dew points and humidity, so they might maintain a little bit longer, and the shear might allow that to happen. But I do think they're going to be in weakening mode heading eastward. So it might be a little bit strong heading into northeast PA, or at least parts of northeast PA a little bit. But when you get further south and head toward places like Lancaster and the Lehigh Valley, I don't think you're going to be dealing with anything more than garden variety stuff. And then further southeast from there, down to Philadelphia, this is like midnight here when it gets down to there, and it just kind of falls apart, okay? And this is universally shown, not only the NAM, but also the high-resolution rapid refresh, which is doing the same thing. And it gets these storms just blow up here. And again, I think that out of everywhere that has the greatest risk, if you're going to put a moderate risk, I would put it right up across here. I mean, those areas are really going to have a rough time across the Finger Lakes, all back, Elmira, Ithaca, places like that, and they're going to have some really hard, really rough go at it tomorrow, I think, with dodging supercells and potential tornadoes. In our area here, once this goes more linear and moves eastward, I do think it transitions into more of a wind threat eventually. Once you get to places like Harrisburg up to Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, still a non-zero chance for a tornado up here too, but I think the better chance is going to be out here by Lock Haven, Williamsport, Selinsgrove, State College, those places within our coverage area that could see a better chance for those tornadoes. And this does the same thing. It gets to our eastern areas. It's just garden variety over eastern Pennsylvania, and then just kind of fizzles over New Jersey as it moves eastward. So this is a significant tornado parameter, supercell composite index, that shows you where the best chance for those supercells to occur that could spawn tornadoes. And you see where they are, okay? Starting out here in western Pennsylvania, and it will eventually translate up to the north and east in these areas. That's the areas I think are the best focus for the tornadoes, and we can see that here in the helicity tracks as I move this forward. You can see where the supercells are lining up here, okay? And they're all in that general area that I just described: Selinsgrove, Williamsport, Lock Haven, and State College. Those areas here are on the gun for the most part within our region. Areas farther east, probably not so much from a tornado threat, but there could be some gusty winds still maintaining as this line moves eastward, okay? Especially out here when you get further east of those areas. These are those areas I was talking about. You get further east, it starts weakening a little bit and transitioning more to a wind threat once it goes farther to the east. But I don't think you're going to get much rain out of this in our far eastern portions of our region. So eastern parts of northeast PA through the Lehigh Valley down to southeast PA, don't expect a whole lot. Maybe some garden variety storms at that point, and maybe a little bit of rain, nothing that's going to be overly beneficial. I know a lot of areas need rain, but I think our focus today is just going to be for areas up northwest of there, up in these areas up here, okay? So we're going to watch that today. I think that everything's coming in alignment with the severe weather threat, with the remnants of which is now post-tropical barrel, and it's just a regular low-pressure system at this point, just like we're normally accustomed to. So it's a synoptically driven system at this point, and that will move away. And I do think that once we get to Thursday, I know that there are a lot of forecasts out there that are showing Thursday having some rain and storms. I don't see the opportunity here on Thursday for anything. I think we're just going to go partly cloudy, maybe a slight chance for a shower, but don't get excited. I think it's just going to be a partly cloudy day here on Thursday. Once we get to Friday, it's going to depend. There's going to be a little bit of a retrograding with this front offshore, and that's because this high pressure off to the east here, you can just barely see in this photo, it is now moving in this direction, kind of pushing west. That's going to push this stalled frontal boundary that's here. It's going to push this off to the northwest as well. How far it moves is still in question, and we'll see what that does with time. But it looks like as we get into Friday morning, you do see it starting to retrograde a little bit, at least in our southeastern areas, with some scattered thunderstorms possible for much of the day here on Friday. And I would say the best chance for that is going to be right in here, okay, for any scattered thunderstorm activity here on Friday. Northwest there, you might get away with not getting too much, and the European model is showing that as well, where it gets up to just those areas either side of I-95 on Friday with those scattered thunderstorm threats and mostly cloudy skies otherwise. So the greatest concentration is down there. And once we get to Saturday, that will finally start to push east a little bit. Might have a leftover morning shower or storm here in our eastern areas before that pulls away as well. And then we are going to be back into the heat once we get into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, back into the 90s again after taking a slight step back into the 80s on Thursday and Friday, especially Friday. Friday will be a little bit cooler because we have a lot more clouds to contend with. But it does look like we're going to be partly cloudy here on Sunday, mostly sunny on Monday. And then Tuesday, we're going to have to watch for this little system coming in. Does it get here in time? We don't know yet. Right now, we're going with partly cloudy skies for Tuesday, and then you might have a front come through on Wednesday of next week. But so our focus is going to be on the severe weather today. Keep in tune with our social media channels right now, and just on during the day here on Wednesday, we'll let you know of anything that is released as far as tornado watch, which I expect. And maybe a severe thunderstorm watch to go with that. But right now, I think the biggest target areas are, again, where I circled. And these soundings are quite impressive for these areas that I outlined, starting out here in western PA, east of Pittsburgh. But this entire area here is really under the gun for some, tornado possibilities with some supercells possibly developing with the remnants of what is now post-tropical barrel. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martrich. That is our outlook for July 10th, 2024. Have a great Wednesday.